Hello everyone, it's Pat here from Beads and Plenty More, and today I'm going to talk about making wire rings. Now, to make a wire ring, you would use a ring mandrel, and that's what a ring mandrel looks like. It's got all the sizes on it, so that helps you get a size. If you know what size you're making, then you can follow the lines on here. Now this is an aluminum mandrel, which is good for wire rings. If you want to do pounding, like shaping your rings, quite often you would do that with sterling silver, and that you're going to need to use a steel mandrel, which are quite a bit more expensive, but they're much more solid. So today we're going to use the aluminum one to make, I've got a variety of rings here. There's 3 different sizes of wire that I recommend using for making wire rings. The 22 gauge is the easiest one to work with. It's light, so you don't get as substantial a ring, but if you make multiple rounds, then you get a little bit more substantial ring. And then the 20 gauge is stiffer and quite a bit harder to work with your hands, but you do get a more substantial sized ring. But my all-time favorite is working with the square wire. It gives you the strength, the size, and it's also a little bit easier to work with. Now, styles of rings. There's a lot of different ideas for making wire rings, and you probably can look online and find even more than what I've got here. The most simple is your single round and just a swirl out each way using a round plier to make these curls. And this also is adjustable. So if you're making it for a friend, it is a good idea that you can have it adjustable. That's the very simplest one to make. And then you can have the one that has the wire going on either side of your stone. This I've used a cube stone, which is kind of a little bit unique, and that's another easy one to do. I used a raw stone on this one, which also gives you a little bit different look. A colored wire, also very interesting. This one is kind of like a bird's nest, and I'm going to show you how to do that one because that's probably one of the more popular ones. I've got one done here. This is one I'm going to copy to show today. And here I used a hematite bead, so you've got a little bit of glitz. Now again, sizing, if you're using a lot of this wrapping, you're going to take down the size from what you first measure, so be careful that you don't make it too small. And a little bit bigger stone that gives another effect, and my bird's nest idea again. So let's get started with the wire and our mandrel, and I've got a blue bead here that I'm going to work with. So I'm working with the square wire, which is the 21 gauge square, again, is what I was talking about, and I'm going to bring that up in like about a 7-inch ring is a very popular size. So we're going to just bring that around on the 7, and I'm going to do 2 rounds to get a little bit more substantial ring. Get it nice and snug so that it wraps really well. And then I'm going to cut off. I'm going to leave some extra on the one side because that's what I'm going to use for wrapping my bird's nest. So we'll feed the bead on, and then once I've got the bead on, I'm going to do a twist on this to bring it around. So this one on the left here will only go the once because I want you to have some left over for wrapping. And then this one, I want to get that bead to turn to the side so that we don't see the hole. There we go. And this one we're going to bring around a few more times. Around, around, and one more. Then we have these little tails on each side that are going to be wrapped. So bring that off the mandrel, and we're going to bring this around on each side. Now this is where pliers come in handy. I'm going to get a hold of this. Now another little hint with making wire rings, you don't want to have anything that's going to pick your skin. So when you're finishing these wraps at the end, you might want to be sure that you finish them up at the top of the ring, not against the skin. push that down a little bit more so that it's nice and tight to the ring. And bring this wire through. This is a fun project because there's just so much variety that you can make with this. Bring this around. And again, we want to finish this up at the top, so I'm going to give that a little tug to get it nice and snug. Cut that tail off a bit about there so that I've just got a little bit left. And then I'm going to tuck that around so that it's nice and tight against the ring. Push this down so that it's sitting. We don't want it sitting up like a big solitaire. We want it to sit nice and tidy. Okay, and this one, I'm going to nip off here. And go ahead and finish that little tail. So it's as easy as that to make a wire ring, just to get your wraps around the mandrel, and then you can do the bird's nest like this. This one I did a little bit more wrap on because it's got a little bit more on it, and I think my mauve one here this one's done with the 22 gauge wire. It's a fine wire, so you can see that I have quite a fine ring that goes against the skin, which is also a nice look. And of course, don't hesitate to use colored wire because you get lots of different colors and different effects with the colored wire. Well, hope you enjoy making some wire rings, and thanks for watching. Bye for now.